The Black Pyramid was put there by the same people or aliens that built the ones in Giza.
Huge Great Pyramids in Antarctica. They jut out of the ice and snow, and they look perfect, just like those in Egypt.
An unexplainable phenomenon recently emerged in Alaska, defying all logical reasoning and explanation. This has propelled many researchers to venture into unraveling the mystery surrounding the phenomenon. But surprisingly, the U.S. government keeps shutting it down. What's going on? What emerged in Alaska? And what's the government concealing from the public? Mysterious black pyramids found beneath Antarctic ice. Lately, there have been multiple reports of massive pyramids in Alaska resembling the ones found in Egypt. One of these pyramids, jutting out of the wilderness, features a perfectly square base, measuring 2 kilometers on each side. It's just too perfect to be a natural phenomenon, which begs the questions: how was such a massive structure built in Alaska? When was it done, and by whom?
We all read the message, and it pretty much gave longitude and latitude of where this Alaskan Black Pyramid was.
Could it be that our ancestors inhabited this area? Or does the government have a hand in this? Before you discard if this is a mere speculation, the evidence is out there. Deep underground, the Alaskan wilderness may lie a ginormous black pyramid which is concealed by a top-secret government facility, a former U.S. official claimed. Ex-counterintelligence agent Doug Muchler did not anticipate encountering the rumored mysterious location. However, in September 1989, during his assignment at Fort Richardson near Anchorage as an espionage and terrorism specialist, he stumbled on something that altered his life drastically. The first thing any agent would do is find their bearings for the area of operation, and since this was decades ago, Google wasn't around to help. As Doug pulled out his old-school map, he said he noticed a whited-out enclave in the mountains that had not been filled in, and his suspicions were immediately raised. But life as an intelligence officer meant you worked on a need-to-know basis. Doug quickly dismissed his suspicions. Fast forward to 1992, China conducted its largest underground nuclear explosion, which was 70 times more powerful than the atomic bomb dropped on Hiroshima. The shockwaves were felt as far as Alaska and detected by earthquake analysis equipment. Surprisingly, a local TV news station recorded a disturbing phenomenon that happened during the time of the event. They claimed they detected a massive underground pyramid on their equipment. According to the news anchor reporting then, the pyramid was larger than the one in Giza, eclipsing it by almost 70 feet. Its position correlated exactly with the location Agent Doug had mapped out. Agent Doug was on duty when he heard the news. He then anxiously waited for a follow-up report until the next evening, which never arrived. Perplexed by the lack of communication, Doug decided to obtain a copy of the report from a nearby station. The station manager reportedly claimed that such a story had never been released. A junior reporter overheard the conversation, hastily pulled Doug aside and said, "2 guys came in and took the tapes," which implies just one thing: they were trying to bury the report. A year passed, but Doug still couldn't shake off the events in his mind. In 1993, he decided to pilgrimage to Fort Meade in Maryland, which houses an extensive collection of military records. Burying the evidence. The archivist at the facility noted the case and guided Doug to the location of the redacted documents. Doug recounted, "I opened the second drawer and found the Alaska folder. I pulled it out, unaware of its contents, and brought it back to my seat. Suddenly 2 men came in and told me I was not authorized to handle the folder. They confiscated the papers from him." At that point, Doug realized his quest for truth had ended, although his suspicion persisted. Nearly 20 years later, Doug sought help from Linda Moulton Howe, an Emmy Award-winning documentarian and investigative journalist. Linda had gained recognition for her work as a ufologist and her advocacy of numerous conspiracy theories that captivated America. Determined to unravel the mystery, Linda reached out to anyone and everyone who could shed light on the giant pyramid.
I received a letter, carefully written, from Linda Porter. This led up to her sending me a whole lot of drawings.
And validate Doug's extraordinary assertions. Just as hope was fading, an anonymous source finally contacted her. "I received a call from someone on the East Coast who mentioned a massive pyramid underground in Alaska. Its age is unknown," she explained. This pyramid, named the Dark Pyramid, was constructed from solid black stone, towering an impressive 550 feet from base to tip. The caller's descriptions finally offered Doug a glimmer of evidence about the elusive pyramid. However, the caller claimed no one had ever seen the pyramid before. But how possible is that? Is the structure invisible to the naked eye, or is it indeed constructed underground? If the latter is true, then this is humanity's most mysterious and shocking revelation. Wait a moment, are we certain we are the only ones on this planet? Could extraterrestrial beings be behind this eerie and unsettling discovery? This inexplicable discovery is located in the remote icy terrain of Alaska, buried deep underground near Mount McKinley, emitting peculiar energy. Yet the more the government tries to bury the story, the more new stories emerge, suggesting that advanced civilizations may be concealing their secrets within this black pyramid, and the U.S. government is aware of this. According to the investigative journalist Linda, the anonymous caller claimed to have had a military background. He mentioned that his dad was called back to work in the late 1970s to assist in transporting equipment by helicopter to a remote area in Alaska. Upon arrival, the old man observed heavy-duty mining equipment and tunnels being excavated in the mountains, along with guards securing the perimeter around the pyramid. Subsequently, when the caller and his dad attempted to gather more information, they were confronted by some strangers who warned of dire consequences if they persisted in their inquiry. Following this encounter, they noticed peculiar occurrences around their residence at night, coupled with disruptions in their communications. So, who's behind this complicated operation that has successfully been kept secret for so long to the point of silencing every witness? Linda and Doug began connecting the dots, but first they had to delve into Alaska's history. Ultimately, they uncovered a series of shocking events that no one talks about. What did they unearth? Stay with me a little longer as I unravel these shocking discoveries. What you are about to hear will leave you speechless. Untold dark history of the Alaskan Triangle. In Alaska, amidst rugged mountains, dense forests, and towering glaciers, there exists a mysterious wilderness known as the Alaska Triangle. More than 16,000 people have gone missing in this area since 1988, leaving locals intrigued by its enigmatic nature. The Alaska Triangle extends from Juneau in the south, through Anchorage in the center, and up to Yukon at the northernmost point of Alaska. Like other triangular areas around the world, incidents such as plane crashes and people disappearing occur. However, this particular area appears to be more unpredictable than others. There's a theory that there are several regions known as vile vortices around the globe. We have about 12 of these lozenge-shaped regions, each spanning several hundred miles. The theory is that these areas are supercharged with geo-electromagnetic energy and that abundant electromagnetic energy results in all kinds of strange things. One such region is the Alaska Triangle, similar to the famous Bermuda Triangle. In this area, there have been many strange disappearances, and thousands of people have vanished without a trace in recent decades. For instance, in January 1950, a Douglas C-54D Skymaster took off from Elmendorf Air Force Base and headed toward Montana. It was a beautiful day, with only a few clouds in the sky. Yet just as it passed into Yukon territory, the Air Force lost complete radio contact with it. United States and Canadian military forces teamed up about 7,000 personnel, scanning 350,000 square miles of territory for this missing airplane, but they couldn't find anything. But what's even stranger is that 2 weeks later, a smaller plane went down in the same area. They found that immediately, yet the larger airplane has not been found to this day. It completely disappeared. Moreover, there are reports of UFO sightings, encounters with strange creatures, and various anomalous phenomena. We'll come back to that shortly. What's surprising is that some of these missing person cases remain unsolved. It's not just a matter of accidental deaths like bear attacks or falling into crevasses. Rather, these are individuals who simply disappear while going about their daily lives. They were not on a grand adventure, but mysteriously disappeared without a clear cause. Imagine the case of an individual who vanished from a cruise ship passing through, while another man disappeared in a crowded tourist area atop a mountain. This raises many questions that need explanation. Looking at the Alaska Triangle, the number of people reported missing in Alaska every year is twice the national average. While some suggest that these disappearances can be attributed to Alaska's harsh wilderness, others speculate that there could be a more extraordinary explanation. Citing stories about mysterious creatures appearing out of nowhere, they believe something unusual might be happening. Alaska is a region filled with numerous mysteries and tales of what some might consider monsters. An intriguing example originates from the Kenai Peninsula, specifically in the southern area where an abandoned town named Portlock is located. Initially a prosperous cannery town, Portlock later fell victim to attacks by a mysterious monster. Researchers were told that this monster was responsible for attacking and killing people to such an extent that by 1950, the entire town had become desolate. This creature was known as the Montiac and is often associated with the broader tradition of Bigfoot or Sasquatch. Positioned between human and beast, some believe these entities exist in an intermediary state, possibly crossing through portals from an unknown world and then returning. Despite their elusive nature, they are often seen swiftly before vanishing mysteriously. There is a strong possibility that people who disappear in the wilderness are not just getting lost, but are being transported to other realms by mysterious beings. Could bizarre creatures be traveling from other dimensions to the Alaska Triangle? While this concept may seem like a fantasy to some, many researchers argue it is plausible. Scientists have also identified multiple geological anomalies in this mysterious region, supporting the idea. Or how do you explain the search of hundreds of cases that yield no result? In Sequoia Kings Canyon, a backpacker goes missing after taking a detour, while another tourist mysteriously wanders away from their car and vanishes into the Yosemite wilderness. Even with helicopters, search teams, and scent dogs deployed, people seem to disappear without a trace. On May 27, 2020, 41-year-old Nathan Campbell chartered a plane from Talkeetna to fly him to a small lake in the northwest corner of Denali National Park. In addition to basic camping equipment, Campbell carried a substantial supply of food kept in plastic tubs and a two-way satellite communicator to stay in touch with his family. His intention was to spend the next 4 months isolated in the heart of interior Alaska. Campbell indeed picked a strange place for a summer vacation. The plane dropped him on the shores of Carey Lake, a mile-long expanse of blue set amidst hundreds of square miles of uninhabited wilderness, filled with some of the most challenging terrain in Alaska. Moving anywhere meant battling dense alder thickets and deep beaver ponds. To reach the nearest town, Lake Minchimina, with only 20 inhabitants, he would need to struggle through a grueling week of bushwhacking on foot. Campbell had found the solitude he sought. Campbell wasn't on a leisure trip. He was on a mission. During the long flight from Talkeetna to Carey Lake, with the expansive green boreal forest beneath them, Campbell, usually shy, opened up to his pilot, Jason Sturgis, about his summer plans. Campbell arrived at Carey Lake with a mission: to find the Black Pyramid. This massive underground structure had long lingered in the shadowy corners of the internet. According to conspiracy theorists, the pyramid wields incredible power and holds such critical national security significance that all evidence of its existence has been meticulously eradicated from satellite images. Although bush pilots, trappers, and natives had traveled the area around Carey Lake for generations, a quick search through the Fairbanks Daily Newsminer archives shows few references to a giant alien pyramid or top-secret base in central Alaska. That is, until Nathan Campbell showed up, no one had been looking for it. First, the Black Pyramid is a perfect addition to the list of unsettling military installations in Alaska. One well-known example is HAARP, the High-Frequency Active Auroral Research Program near Fairbanks. Depending on whom you ask, HAARP is believed to have various uses, such as triggering earthquakes to overthrow dictators in Venezuela, manipulating the global climate and disrupting the fossil fuel sector, or supporting scientific research on the ionosphere. You can choose what to believe. Second, the supposed location of the Black Pyramid has long been recognized as an area of geostrategic significance. In the 1930s, General Billy Mitchell, often referred to as the father of the U.S. Air Force, identified Lake Minchumina, 40 miles away from where Campbell landed at Carey Lake, as central to major urban industrial hubs in the Northern Hemisphere. This meant that a B-52 aircraft taking off from the shores of Lake Minchumina could reach Tokyo, Beijing, Moscow, Paris, or even New York with just one tank of fuel. Through his insights, General Mitchell illustrated how seemingly remote locations could become pivotal in war. Imagine a weapon powerful enough to disrupt global communications, perfectly positioned to strike any major power in the Northern Hemisphere. Building standard military base infrastructure or roads around it would only draw unnecessary attention. To maintain its perfect secrecy, wouldn't it be better to hide it in one of the most remote, inhospitable corners of the country, so that only the truly audacious, skilled in wilderness survival, and prepared to confront hordes of mosquitoes and week-long storms could uncover its secrets? With all these reports, everything came together. Secret bases, government cover-ups, global warfare, ancient aliens, pyramid power, and one can easily create the story of the Black Pyramid. Campbell likely believed this story and surely planned his summer vacation around it. No one knows for certain if Campbell believed any of this. He might have spent a month thoroughly searching every clump of dwarf birch for a secret door to the command center. Nevertheless, he sure got into trouble at some point and never survived. Traveling in any direction from Carey Lake would have been slow, difficult, and dangerous. Did Campbell surprise a bear, fall into a beaver pond, or get caught in a freak snowstorm? No one knows. All the National Park security had to work with were scattered testimonies and fragments of evidence. Before the plane left, Campbell gave his charter pilot, Jason Sturgis, instructions to pick him up at Carey Lake in mid-September, right before the onset of the Alaskan winter. After that, Sturgis hopped on his plane and flew back to Talkeetna. That was the last time anyone saw Campbell alive. In mid-June, Campbell's satellite texts suddenly ceased. Concerned, his wife contacted Sturgis, who advised her to contact a helicopter company to search the area of Campbell's last transmission. The outcome of her inquiries or any search efforts remains unknown. It wasn't until September 15th, the date Campbell was supposed to be picked up but didn't show up, that the NPS dispatched a search team to Carey Lake. After days of searching through the dense brush, rangers discovered some of Campbell's belongings: broken food containers, moldy clothes, a torn tent, yet found no trace of the missing Wasilla native. The only leads were the rodent-chewed remnants of his diary recovered from his tent. The final entry, noted in late June, ominously read, "Went to get water." And just like that, he vanished without a trace. On October 1st, 2020, Campbell was declared missing. He was as good as dead. Wherever he is, hopefully, he found what he was looking for. Somewhere deep in the Alaskan wilderness, the search for the Black Pyramid continues. Alaska's land is highly volatile. The U.S. Department of the Interior conducted a geological survey of the area and found prevalent negative magnetic anomalies. These anomalies can disrupt guidance systems, compasses, and other electronic equipment, leading to the disappearance or crash of planes and vessels. Some theories suggest these anomalies could even open portals to other dimensions. While Alaska's geological activity is known to produce magnetic anomalies, it remains uncertain if it also creates portals. What is certain, however, is that thousands of people mysteriously vanish in the Alaska Triangle every year. Researchers are beginning to connect the links between the Alaskan Pyramid, ancient indigenous cultures, and lost civilizations. They have noticed global similarities in architecture and uncovered stories passed down through generations indicating early contact with otherworldly beings, such as angelic figures made of light or sky masters capable of shapeshifting. These beings allegedly shared advanced knowledge and technology. Even people who claim to have psychic abilities managed to catch glimpses of what's inside the pyramid. They described navigating scary passages, huge rooms with walls made of unfamiliar black material, and control rooms equipped with high-tech gadgets integrated into the structure. Such discoveries suggest the pyramid may originate from an incredibly advanced civilization unknown to us. Various theories speculate on its origins, with some proposing it was left behind by giant explorers who journeyed to the Arctic in ancient times. Others believe ancient natives know the secrets regarding its provenance and significance, implying that government agencies are concealing the truth for their own gain. Leaked documents reveal that engineers from prominent aerospace and defense companies have been dispatched to Alaska to investigate the pyramid. Their mission includes attempts to extract energy from discovered artifacts, potentially powering highly advanced computers capable of exploring other dimensions. All these operations are conducted discreetly under government supervision. Investigative researchers suspect there is much more occurring underground than what we know. However, what began as secret research has evolved into a significant discovery that can no longer be concealed. University of Colorado Boulder researchers just discovered an ancient Alaskan artifact. What is this artifact? Could this discovery hint at what's going on within the pyramid? Let's find out. Ancient Alaskan artifact discovered. In a remote sandy cape on the western edge of Alaska, A team of researchers led by the University of Colorado Boulder has uncovered an unusual find for the area, a prehistoric bronze artifact crafted through casting. This discovery marks the first of its kind in Alaska. According to CU Boulder researcher John Hoff, the artifact was discovered in an ancient Eskimo dwelling estimated to be around 1,000 years old. The artifact is a small piece, only a few inches in diameter. It resembles a rectangular hook with what appears to be a ring attached, although the ring itself is broken. The team unearthed the artifact when excavating a driftwood-constructed house nestled into a dune by the Inupiat Eskimos at Cape Espenberg, situated on the eastern side of the Bering Strait on the Seward Peninsula. These houses, supported by driftwood, were integrated into the dunes due to the abundance of driftwood in the area, making it an appealing settlement location. Luckily, there was a small piece of leather attached to the object. We were able to date it directly using radiocarbon, and it provided a date of around 1,500 years. This implies that the object is likely at least a couple of centuries older than the house, which we estimate to be no more than about 1,100 years old. The presence of the leather indicates that the object is older than initially believed. The artifact likely originated in East Asia, possibly in the steppe region of southern Siberia, where bronze casting began thousands of years ago. It is presumed that both the cast bronze and some iron pieces originated in this region, where people have been casting iron and bronze for millennia prior to the arrival of Eskimo and Inupiat communities in northwest Alaska. The discovery of this object also suggests that there may have been trade between Asian settlements and Alaska, or that an early settler brought it over. This finding indicates the potential for trade across the Bering Strait during that time. Additionally, it is possible that since these early immigrants had recently arrived from Northeast Asia, they may have brought the artifact with them. Could these early immigrants be the ones who constructed the underground pyramid? While trying to find a response to this question, the researchers made another intriguing discovery. The DNA of ancient Alaskan baby reveals disturbing secret. Scientists have successfully deciphered the DNA of a baby girl buried in this region for 11,500 years. Archaeologists have been excavating at the Upward Sun River for several years to uncover insights about the native peoples of the Americas. The remains of this 6-week-old baby, referred to as Sunrise Girl Child by the local indigenous community, are the oldest human remains ever discovered in Alaska. According to scientists, she belonged to a previously unknown ancient group, supporting the theory that a single migration wave from Asia reached the New World via a submerged land bridge connecting Siberia to Alaska over 20,000 years ago. These pioneering settlers are the ancestors of present-day Native Americans. But that wasn't all. Other discoveries, such as signs of ancient aliens, have also been made, but the U.S. government keeps discarding the proof. Indisputable signs of aliens among us. Is there any real proof of UFOs, you ask? Former Navy pilot Ryan Graves, retired U.S. Navy bigwig David Fravor, and ex-intelligence officer David Grush were the trio who chose to appear before the UFO hearing Congress in July 2023 to spill the beans on UFOs. Who would deliberately risk his life to confront the U.S. government on secrets about aliens and UFOs? These high-ranking officials opted to risk their reputations and lives to disclose such information to the public. The intrigue and confidence surrounding their testimonies are simply astonishing. What were these shocking revelations? And how will these affect everything we know? In a series of events that seemed straight out of a science fiction film, the U.S. Congress conducted a public hearing to address the allegations that the government is concealing vital information about UFOs. What do you expect? The hearing caused a huge stir across the globe. All eyes were on 3 key witnesses, including David Grush, the whistleblower who boldly declared in June that the U.S. is housing intact and partially intact alien vehicles. These are top secrets making their way to the surface. Taken back by such an audacious claim, Congressman Tim Burchett asked Grush if he had any personal knowledge of people who have been harmed or injured while attempting to uncover or conceal extraterrestrial secrets. Grush replied, "Yes." Really? But Grush was not the only one who made such startling allegations. As the hearing progressed, similar allegations from other witnesses simply reinforced the notion that a cover-up exists somewhere within the U.S. government, as well as skepticism regarding any connection between this cover-up and the notion of little green men. The U.S. government apparently had a side project for several decades that focused on collecting and attempting to reverse engineer crashed UFOs.
Like, imagine you're like a hot shot engineer. He might be hot too, I don't know.
According to Grush, he led the analysis of such crashed UAPs, unexplained anomalous phenomena, within a U.S. Department of Defense agency until 2023, when he was suddenly denied access to secret government UFO programs. So he decided to expose the little secret he knew. But no one messes with the government and goes scot-free, because now he claims to be facing very brutal retaliation due to his allegations. He even claimed he knew people who have been harmed or injured in the government's efforts to conceal UFO information. However, the Pentagon denied Grush's claims of a cover-up. In a statement, a Defense Department spokesperson refuted the allegations, stating that investigators have not found any verifiable information to support the existence of programs related to the possession or reverse engineering of extraterrestrial materials.
Spilling the beans where, look, we're on the program, I'm an engineer for X, Y, and Z.
Either in the past or at present. Of course, no one expected the Pentagon to welcome such allegations with a warm handshake. But Tim Burchett seems convinced that the Pentagon is playing hide-and-seek with evidence of close encounters with extraterrestrials. All through the hearing, Burchett kept emphasizing that transparency is paramount and demanded that the American public be given answers to their burning questions. He boldly challenged officials to release all files and share the information openly, with no redactions allowed. But no, the Pentagon contested Burchett's claims and denied any deliberate withholding of information. Who, then, is far from the truth? The Pentagon or Grush? David Fravor, a former Navy commander who is another witness, recalled seeing a strange object in the sky during a training mission in 2004. Ryan Graves, a retired Navy pilot who has since founded Americans for Safe Aerospace, a nonprofit organization focused on UAPs, unidentified aerial phenomena, claimed to have observed UAPs off the Atlantic coast daily for at least a few years. They cannot cook up such stories. What interest will it be? Graves said, "The sightings were as common as finding a Starbucks on every corner. Even military air crews and commercial pilots see this often, but prefer to be silent because their lives hang on it." When pilots were asked about the common characteristics of the UAPs they had spotted, Graves added that the sightings mainly involved dark gray or black cubes within a clear sphere. In these sightings, the tops or tips of the cubes touched the inside of the sphere. According to reliable sources, there were many near collisions and even collisions with these objects. One of them collided with a Mexican airline that was landing, extensively damaging the landing gear. The object was picked up on radar around the airport and observed by the pilot. From all indications, Ryan doesn't seem to go too far into the alien stuff. He is strictly promoting flight safety because his colleagues were almost killed by flying into these objects. It's mind-blowing that with all this evidence and our advanced technology, we seem to know nothing about what's flying in our space. That's really weird. But it is even weirder to believe we are the only ones in the universe. Just imagine, even with all these declarations, some still doubt the existence of these UAPs. For instance, not everyone was convinced by Grush's testimony, considering that he said he had never personally spotted a UAP, but told the panel he knows of multiple colleagues who were injured by UAPs. He also said he had interviewed individuals who had recovered non-human biologics from crashed UAPs. And why did he prefer to use the term non-human rather than alien or extraterrestrial? Obviously, there were so many times he appeared less forthcoming under oath than in media interviews. He was reluctant to go into details on those claims, citing security issues. But then, in the interview with News Nation in June,
these are retrieving non-human origin technical vehicles.
Grush claimed the government had very large, like a football field kind of size, alien craft, while he told Le Parisien, a French newspaper, that the U.S. had possession of a bell-like craft, which Benito Mussolini's government had recovered in northern Italy in 1933. Another revelation one of the witnesses made was an unusual sight during a test mission. The crew saw a sequence of 4 crafts in a clear diamond formation, floating. Now, how do we explain this phenomenon? Can these crafts, when approached by the pilot, disarm several sensory collection systems on that plane? The radar went down and the system malfunctioned. The pilot had to take a picture of this image manually. These test pilots explicitly stated that if you ever encounter a UFO, the best thing you could do for your career is forget it and not tell anyone. Because any type of recording, either surface or below the surface, has grievous consequences for them. And that's a culture we must change to get to the truth. It's indeed a big dilemma if people can't report occurrences that threaten national security. Unfortunately, this has spanned many years. For decades, many Americans have been frightened by mysterious, non-human, unexplainable objects. It's long past time they got some answers. This is a topic of great importance to our national security. Since the Oversight Committee got on the case, Burchett has been quite assertive in his claims, throwing around the notion that the U.S. has top-secret evidence of aliens. During an episode of the Event Horizon podcast, Burchett was pressed for details on whether he had seen compelling evidence of sightings in the sky that might not be of this Earth. Without stating his sources, he categorically responded in the affirmative. In his words, "Oh, 100%, 100%, no question." Burchett went beyond with his claims. The U.S. supposedly has evidence of this technology that defies all of our laws of physics. Not only that, he even said that these extraterrestrial crafts could potentially be dangerous. According to Burchett, if they're indeed out there with this kind of mind-boggling technology, we might end up as charcoal briquettes. That sounds scary. What do you think? But how do we get here? Why all these revelations now? Why would Grush come forward and risk the penalty of perjury or violate his oath of secrecy? His career has certainly been hampered. It takes a lot of bravery to come forward, especially as a member of the military, and speak publicly about seeing a UFO. Ryan Graves also mentioned what he saw while piloting an F-18. Nevertheless, he's been instrumental in encouraging other pilots to speak out. Since the hearing, there has been an influx of individuals coming forward to recount their experiences. Furthermore, a group of commercial pilots have recently signed up and confirmed several of the sightings mentioned while providing additional information regarding potential new cases. Right now, the question is not whether it's alien, but rather what it is. What is it capable of? How many are they out there, and what are their intentions? Once we have these answers, we can focus on knowing their origin. Or perhaps there is a hidden player somewhere in this whole game that nobody knows about. This fact alone should instill fear in us, as it indisputably proves that we are not alone on our planet. The more we seek answers to many of our questions, the more mystery we uncover. Do you also know that archaeologists just discovered a hidden chamber within the Great Pyramid in Egypt? Hidden chamber, discovered in Great Pyramid. After nearly 2 decades in the field, astronaut theorist Georgios Tsoukalos was keen on confirming the recent rumor of a hidden chamber tucked within the Great Pyramid of Giza. Joining him on this exploration are Egyptologist Rami Romani and archaeoastronomer Dr. Giulio Magli. Their destination is the Grand Gallery, accessible only after traversing a 200-foot-long passageway. Directly overhead lies where an international team of scientists suspects a large concealed chamber measuring over 100 feet long may be located. As they reach the Grand Gallery, Tsoukalos remarks on the awe-inspiring construction methods dating back more than 4,000 years. The precision of the structure, standing 10 meters tall and extending 50 meters deep, equivalent to 150 feet, showcases the enormity of the site. The impeccable fitting of the stone blocks without any mortar, leaving no gaps even for a thin bill to slide through, highlights the remarkable craftsmanship. In contrast to the rest of the pyramid, red granite is used here. It was a shocking discovery that left them perplexed. Undoubtedly, many mysteries are lurking in the depths of the universe, yet to be uncovered. Nevertheless, the government and the world's strategic rulers are key to many of these mysteries. What can you make of all this? Have you ever seen a UFO before? Feel free to share with us in the comments section. We also implore everyone not to be judgmental of other people's claims. All responses are strictly for entertainment and engagement purposes. Thanks for watching another episode of Beyond Discovery. While you're still here, check out the other videos you see on your screen.